So what about the value of hiking? I think that's maybe a undervalued activity sometimes. And
I wholeheartedly agree. Uh, there are a lot of activities that you can do in wilderness that, frankly, are distracting. And we can process those in a therapeutic manner. But we're walking is something that we do since we're a toddler. So by nature, one foot falls in front of the other. And as we do that, we can hike and think and contemplate. So when we're in camp, when we do a one-on-one session, when we have therapy, when we have a group session around the fire, or somebody gives me feedback about how I responded to someone's criticism, when I'm walking is when I contemplate those things and they become internalized. In other words, all of the feedback and experiences that I have are planting these seeds. And when you're walking, that seed is getting water and sunshine.
mm-hmm.
And so those thoughts become concepts and they become realized in your person. When a part of your relationship comes to light that, oh, I'm at fault. All of a sudden, a lot of those times that happens when you're walking. Like, oh, I treated my mom like crap. and then they realize that when they're walking, instead of doing camp chores or cooking the meal or whatever it is, whatever else we have going on. And so Nietzsche says that all great thoughts were conceived while walking. And I don't know if that's true or not, but a lot of great thoughts were conceived while walking. I wholeheartedly agree with that. And so, as a result, walking is a core of Red Cliff, and it always will be, as long as I'm here.
Mm-hmm. And we don't know what day the kid needs to walk.
No. That's right. That's right. So we try to have several of those a week, opportunities for.
So you said since we were toddlers. But let me ask you something. Demonstrate to me as if you were soothing an infant by bouncing it up and down. Show me your hands, how you would hold an infant and bounce it up and down to soothe it. What pace is that?
Walking pace.
And for the previous 9 months, the infant has been soothed.
With the walking pace.
With the walking.
Yes.
So I would actually argue, propose that you can't separate walking from love.
Yeah. It's true.
It doesn't always feel that way.
Yeah. And you can't separate love from wilderness therapy either.
Yeah. So at Red Cliff, students cook meals individually.
That's correct. The food ration is delivered on a weekly basis, and then their responsibility is to manage that through the week. They have more than enough to last them. If they do run out, we can bring more. It's not.
Mm-hmm.
That's not an issue. But they're responsible for cooking their meal and for cleaning their pot. It's basic, but that's an expectation in many cases which has never been placed on them before. And so they are learning responsibility. They're learning self-care.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So what is that sort of direct and immediate feedback to the result of your actions? What does that do for a young person who's maybe never had that experience?
Frankly, it's a little exhilarating. It's a little when they accomplish a task that they didn't think they could do, or perhaps it hasn't been an expectation on them, and then it's placed on them and they can do it, and then they pass their pot off and it's clean. They're like, oh, I can do that. I can do something hard.
Mm-hmm.
In reality, which is what wilderness therapy is. We show people that they can do hard things, and it's okay.
Mm-hmm. Because life is hard.
Yeah, it is. We all have hard things, all of us in our lives, and it's going to come up. And so, a lot of the a lot of the kids that we come in with have so few coping skills to deal with hard things. And so that's a reason, really associated with the depression and anxiety. This hard thing came up. I got ghosted on social media or whatever it is, and my life is over. Or my mom took my cell phone and my life is over. They don't really know what a hard thing is. Perhaps they haven't had an expectation that they get up and cook their own meal, or that they pack up all their worldly belongings and hike several miles to the next camp.
Mm-hmm.
Perhaps they haven't had an expectation that's clearly set that they're a part of a group, and as such, you have a responsibility to your group and your peers. Again, it goes back to the spirit thing. Mm-hmm. Our spirits connect on a one-on-one level, and so when I begin to heal and I begin to develop a social relationship with you, then I feel responsible to you, mm-hmm. for you. So if I can help you in some way, then it's my responsibility to do so. If I can comfort you or give you compassion or give you guidance or mentor you on making traps or cordage, then it's my responsibility to do that. And so again, it's part of the wilderness therapy to get one out of oneself and get them to connect with other humans.
So that connection with other people makes me think of at Red Cliff you sleep in a group.
Yeah.
You have a group shelter for sleeping, mm-hmm. And I think that's extra work for staff. I know as a field instructor, I definitely would prefer to have my own shelter and not sleep with a bunch of noisy students.
Yeah.
But that's because I'm a curmudgeon. But there's a positive effect of that sinking and being with people on an ongoing basis. And historically, people have slept in groups like that. So what do you think that does for, you've watched it for years, what do you think that does for helping students connect? Just that basic line sleeping thing. It's something that we might just be like, that's not important, it's no big deal. But why? Why do you do it, and what's the effect?
There's a film that's given credit as the first documentary, and a British filmmaker made it. It's called Nanook of the North, and if you get a chance, look it up and watch it. In Nanook of the North, it was around the turn of the 1900s, right? He films this family in the northeast. For lack of the true tribal name, people would, if I say they were Eskimos, mm-hmm. it would give you some idea of this family of people. Nanook, meaning white bear, was the older gentleman's name, and so anyway, it showed their life as they're getting along in the tundra. Out here in the frozen ice tundra, with ice breakups, moving and such, and they have their sled, and it shows them making an igloo. In there, it shows them bedding down for the night, and they lay a sealskin, blankets out, and then they all kind of strip down and jump in there in the igloo, and then they cover themselves, and they all sleep together. Now, we don't do that in the wilderness. We don't strip down, but it's still it's a family situation. It's human connection, but it's also a responsibility. There are expectations on us truly outside of of course we have our own expectations and regulations, but we have to be responsible for the kids during the night as well. But so we sleep together. We sleep close enough for body warmth, especially in the wintertime. But everybody just lines out, and it's time for story time at night, or we'll read a book, or read short stories, or it's a little quiet time. It's time for people to chill, and relax and just be.
And just so that we're clear, for people who may not know or understand, right?
Yeah.
The students are sleeping in individual
sleeping bags. Yeah.
And staff's there with them.
And staff is with them.
Right.
Yeah, and of course the genders are separated if we have a co-ed group.
Mm-hmm.
That's just the expectation. It's just the way it is. But there are certain sleeping patterns that we establish to set up to help us supervise at night. But when things are working the way they should, kids are tired,
mm-hmm.
staff are tired, everybody sleeps, we get up together, we go to bed together, we work together.
And when you're synced like that, and somebody starts to wake up, it's much easier for these young people who typically have a hard time waking up.
Yeah.
To wake up, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's still a few boys.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks for watching. Please like this video and subscribe. The Primitivus project is made possible by the generous sponsorship of Wingate Wilderness Therapy. To learn more, visit wingatewilderness.therapy.com.